What is up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com. Welcome back to another one of our Kentucky Derby updates. It's a big one here. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff towards the Kentucky Derby. First round of 100-point prep races are in the books. We'll recap those first, so that's where we'll start with. Put this up on the screen for you here, and we'll start with the Louisiana Derby, the race of the weekend. Well, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's debatable. Let's talk about it. For me, it was emerging market in just a second start, able to get the job done, beating Pavlovian to the wire in a real battle, just a real battle down to the stretch. There for a while, was a little bit afraid as an emerging market better that he was going to hang and not get there, but he does get the job done. Pavlovian, tough customer. Once again, he likes those photo finishes. If you remember, it was a photo finish that he won in the Sunland Derby over Express Kid, a photo finish here that he lost, but still he's heading to the Derby after this effort. Golden Tempo, well, he kind of did what he does. He was just kind of late to the scene. He made a decent enough move. Felt like he was still kind of grinding, making up a little bit of ground, just not quite fast enough to get there and just a little bit too far back. He did get pinched a lot at the start of the race. He got pinched and kind of back a lot more than maybe they wanted, even though that's kind of where he's been. He did have a little bit of an excuse this time for being all the way back there towards the back. But anyway, he gets third. Universe fourth. Chip Honcho fifth. Chip Honcho did not get the desired trip and get that easy lead, and it was not good for him. And then Blacksmith in sixth. The Bob Baffert runner didn't pick up his feet much in this one. All right, let's talk about the winner emerging market. What he proved to me is he's a really good horse. I really think second start of his career in a Kentucky Derby prep race, going a mile and a 3/16 off of a mile race. He really showed a lot of class, a lot of heart to get into a battle and win once again. If you remember, that's two battles in a row he's been able to win. Power Shift and him battled to the wire at Tampa before he eased away and won that one. So he really proved to me he's a really nice horse. Look, I think that the problems are obvious when we head into the Kentucky Derby. Just two starts, and look, he's going to have to get a lot better off of that race, right? We know that. We know that he receives a 90 buyer for that effort. We know a 90 buyer is not going to win the Kentucky Derby. He did get a higher buyer on debut, and maybe he can get back to that number. Then you're looking at maybe there's a chance to get the job done. We also, we don't know what's going to happen the next 2 weeks. Maybe there's going to be some underwhelming performances, and we get to Derby Day and we go, hey, emerging market looks better than I thought maybe he would look. But yeah, look, for me, I just find it hard to believe that he's going to win the Kentucky Derby in his third career start off of these two races. I don't think it's going to happen. Do I think there's a couple of big races with his name on it? Absolutely, yes. If the Derby was more of a normal race, where it's not 20 horses and it's not a circus in the paddock and walking over to maybe you feel a little bit better, but boy, lack of experience to that degree is hard to overcome. Not impossible though. I will say that, there's been some horses that don't have a ton of experience win. So it is definitely not impossible. I'll say this last thing on emerging market, when he was on the turn, he was making a move and made a move, I should say, where I was like, oh my gosh, he may win this thing by 4 or 5. Like that horse looked like he was absolutely freaking just going to dominate. Now, give Pavlovian credit for being tough, but also I think emerging market got a little bit tired, which is understandable. It's his second race and he's going a mile and 3/16. So I think he moves forward up this race. I would not be surprised if he runs better than he did here in the Kentucky Derby. It's just, can he do it? Or is it too much too soon? Pavlovian, look, I think he's a horse that has earned it. I underestimated him for sure, but I still don't think he's there. I still don't think he can win the Derby, but he's earned the right. And Golden Tempo, look, maybe the pace will just be absolutely blazing and he's got a shot. That's what it's going to take. I think we know it by now. With him, we're going to have to see a hot pace or he's just out of it. The good news for him is we've seen really hot paces lately in the Kentucky Derby. If you get it again and he trips out and kind of gets lucky, there's a chance, right? I mean, we could be talking about him finishing third in the Kentucky Derby for sure. I just don't know about a win contender for Golden Tempo. All right, let's go to the Jeff Ruby Stakes next. This was probably, I don't think probably even, I think this was the most impressive performance out of the two. Full Effort to me was super, super good in this race. He He worked out a trip under Irad Ortiz. I think Irad Ortiz did make a big difference on this horse. He was finishing just full of run, a very, very impressive, eye-catching effort. I thought the 11 Stark Contrast also ran extremely well. He made like a circus move on the turn. He may have moved a little too early even, but he looked like he was going to win that thing by 2 or 3 lengths. And then you scroll back with your eyes to full effort. And you're like, nope, he's not. He's definitely finished second in that horse. But I thought he ran really well. I think both of the top 2 finishers are excellent horses. The problem is I don't know about the dirt. I think they're more turfy. But look, we'll see what happens. I think Full Effort's a contender out of this. I view him the same way I view Golden Tempo. I think he's going to drop back. I think he's going to need a ton of pace to win a race like the Kentucky Derby. But if he gets it, he may win. I mean, or at least get up there and get close to winning. I don't think he's far-fetched at all. Stark Contrast, I kind of hope they run in the American turf on Kentucky Derby Day. I think he's a really nice horse. I just don't know about the Derby. So I really hope they run in that turf race. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I know the Derby fever and everything like that. But Full Effort, I think he's contender. I think him and Golden Temple are going to be friends back there in the back, and I think they're both going to move together. And if the pace is hot enough and the trip works out, maybe they can get a piece of it. So that's kind of how I saw what happened this weekend. Well, let's just get to the top 10. So we'll talk about the horses that won those races. So we're going to rank 10. John White had the idea of, hey, it's a couple of weeks now of preps left. Let's rank 10. I got Full Effort at number 10. I just think, look, paces could set up and he could move up this list as if we get to the, Derby week and the pace looks maybe hotter than I even think, then he could move up the list. So I've got him at number 10 after that win. Visually, he was super impressive. I should mention for the Full Effort, 94 buyers. So he did get the higher of the 2. But again, is he a dirt horse? I don't know. Number 9, the Puma for me. He's gonna get the big test of the Florida Derby. Went over to Tampa, ran 2 good races, won the Tampa Bay Derby, but it's a different caliber that he'll be up against this weekend in the Florida Derby. Number 8, Silent Tactic for me. We'll see him in the Arkansas Derby. Another really tough race there, but he's ran super well in an Arkansas circuit, so excited to see what he does. I've got the Louisiana Derby Emerging Market, number 7. The one thing we don't have to worry about him that we do have to worry about with Full Effort, we know he likes the dirt. I mean, he's been very good on the dirt. I think he'll sit a little bit more tactical trip as well. So that's why I've got him ranked ahead of Full Effort. So Emerging Market, number 7. Look, I really, really think the sky's the limit for this horse. I'm not sure the Kentucky Derby is the right race for him, but I think you got to run in it. How good he's looked these 2 races. I do think future races, I like him a little bit more than maybe the Kentucky Derby, but we'll see. Like I said, still 2 weeks to kind of analyze all this. Number 6, Class President. We don't know where he's running next. That has me worried. Honestly, if he does not make another start before the Derby, I'll probably throw him off this list. I don't want a horse running in the Rebel and then training up to the race, really. But maybe he runs in the Bluegrass. That's kind of what I've been hearing. The rumor could be running in the Bluegrass on April 4th. So if that's the case, we'll have another data point for him. Number 5 for me is Renegade, and Renegade's a horse going to go up the Arkansas Derby. He gets Irad Ortiz. He sticks with Renegade instead of riding Commandment. I've handicapped both these races, and boy, on paper, I don't know that makes a lot of sense, but look, I think 1 1/8 is going to be the critical thing here. Maybe he believes Renegade going to be really tough at 1 1/8 and maybe not so much Commandment. We'll see what happens there. Number 4, Nearly is going to run in the Florida Derby this weekend. Going to be very interesting to see what he does. He won the Holy Bull. We'll see if he can win also the Florida Derby. It's going to be a really interesting race because we got a couple of horses we're going to talk about here in just a second. Number 3, Paladin going to the Bluegrass. We're just totally going to wait and see. Of course, won the Risen Star. Pretty nice race, but going to have to improve in the Bluegrass, which he absolutely could for Chad Brown. That is the subject for next week. Number 2, Commandment. He lost his jock, but he gets Flavian Pratt, so that's not too bad. And we'll see him in the Florida Derby this weekend, see if he can make it 2 in a row after winning the Fountain of Youth. And Chief Wallaby, number 1, once again for me. We'll see if he can get it done this weekend as well in the Florida Derby. So my number 1, my number 2, and my number 4 horses all in the Florida Derby. My number 9 horse also in the Florida Derby. Kind of a big race coming up in Hallandale Beach there at Gulfstream Park this weekend. All right, let's get to John White's top 10 now. He's going to put Class President at number 10, and I'm kind of honestly, I thought about doing a similar thing and moving him down just because I don't really know where he's going to run, but I thought, no, don't do that, because just because you don't know doesn't mean he's going to show up in the bluegrass. Doesn't mean that he's not going to show up in the bluegrass next week. So just wait and see on that. And that's what I'll do. Number 9, Cherokee Nation, a horse I don't have ranked, but a huge maiden special weight win with 100 buyer at Santa Anita. We'll see him next weekend in the Santa Anita Derby. Speaking of Santa Anita Derby, John's got Patente number 8. So a couple of Bob Baffert runners there at 9 and 8. Patente, winner of the San Felipe, going into the Santa Anita Derby next. John was impressed and likes Pavlovian. He's got Pavlovian number 7 after a second place effort in the Louisiana Derby. Renegade number 6 for him. We'll see if he'll stick on both John and I's list after the Arkansas Derby this weekend. 5 is Paladin, a horse, like I said, we're kind of in waiting right now with Paladin to see him in the bluegrass. Nearly at number 4 for John, and he'll run it this weekend in the Florida Derby. Here's the big one, and the big kind of difference, I think, between John and I's rankings. He's got Emerging Market up here at number 3. He is very, very high on Emerging Market. We'll get to his comments on him in just a second. So he's got Emerging Market 3, Pavlovian 7. I've got Emerging Market 7 and Pavlovian not ranked. So that kind of shows the difference between how we viewed the Louisiana Derby. Number 2, Commandment for John, and number 1, Chief Wallaby. That's kind of been the same for both him and I since that big run in the Fountain of Youth for those 2 horses, and they'll rematch once again this weekend. All right, let's get to John White's comments here. It's a lot of comments here in just a second as I pull them up if I could read them. There it is. All right. So John says, kudos to Emerging Market, who shipped from Florida and won the Louisiana Derby at a mile and 3/16 in only his second career start. Wow. Emerging Market moves on to my Kentucky Derby top 5 this week at number 3. I actually gave some thought to putting Emerging Market at number 1, but I didn't, mainly because if he does run in the Kentucky Derby, he will be asked to overcome multiple historical obstacles. Emerging Market would become the first horse in history to win the Kentucky Derby in his 3rd career start without having raced as a 2-year-old. Yes, he'd be the first one to ever do that. I mean, that is incredible, by the way. Let's keep going with John. There's been only one horse to ever win the Kentucky Derby, having made fewer than 3 previous career starts. That horse was Leonidas way back in 1883. So that is crazy, but he did make one start as a 2-year-old, finishing second. So that's why Emerging Market would be the first, as John was pointing out. Back to John here. Emerging Market would also become just the 3rd horse in history to win both the Louisiana Derby and Kentucky Derby, joining Black Gold in 1924 and Grindstone in 1996. Emerging Market would become only the 4th horse in history to win the Kentucky Derby without having raced as a 2-year-old. Yes, this is not as a big deal as it once was. I repeat, it's not as a big deal as it once was. That's because both Mage and Justify recently did it. But I do think it's important to remember that there have been 151 Kentucky Derby winners, and 148 of the 151 did not race as a 2-year-old, or excuse me, did race as a 2-year-old. So yeah, that's still a pretty significant stat for sure. Back to John here. I will say this, despite Emerging Market's lack of experience, it appears to me he is talented enough that he just might have what it takes to win the Run for the Roses if the connections do decide to run him on the first Saturday in May. I'll pause on what John says right there, because that's the end of the Emerging Market, and then he's going to talk about what's going on this week, which will lead to the races that we'll talk about next. On Emerging Market, a couple things. DRF story came out. Marcus Hirsch from the DRF came out with his kind of the post-race next day stuff. It really sounds like Emerging Market is going to run in the Kentucky Derby. I know a lot of people thought, maybe Preakness, but no, it sounds like Kentucky Derby for Emerging Market. Chad Brown really likes this horse. Another thing they really kind of talked about, and Marcus talked about in the article over there on the Daily Racing Forum, Emerging Market was close to running a couple times over the summer at Saratoga, and minor setbacks caused him to not be able to run. So he's not one of these horses that, showed up really late in the 2-year-old season and got going and then debuted. He had been working and building a foundation for a long time, like over the summer at Saratoga. That's for horse racing terms, that's a lifetime ago, right? So the point of it, the point of the article and kind of the Chad Brown's kind of overall thing, he's like, yes, he's lightly raced, but he does have a lot of foundation built into him. It's just been through the work pattern. Now, that is certainly not the same as racing, and I'm not saying that is the case. I'm just saying that is an interesting thing to think about. All right. So let's get back to John White's comments here. Meanwhile, this Saturday's Florida Derby is going to be a big, big biggie, all in capital letters, by the way. It will be a clash of my number 1 ranked Chief Wallaby and number 2 ranked Commandment. Also in the field is Holy Bull winner Nearly, who I've ranked at number 4, and Tampa Bay Derby winner, the Puma. I think the Florida Derby is the strongest race we've seen so far on the road to this year's Kentucky Derby. In addition to the Florida Derby, I am certainly looking forward to see what happens in Saturday's Arkansas Derby, which is headed by Sam F. Davis winner Renegade and Rebel runner-up Silent Tactic. I say look out for litmus tests in the Arkansas Derby. I know people are down on him after he ran 3rd in the Rebel, but as I've said and written many times, you should always be willing to forgive one disappointing race. I don't think litmus test is at his best when in the front early like he was in the Rebel. Keep in mind, litmus test has posted buyers of 96 and 95. Well, the top buyer for Renegade is 93, and it's 91 for Silent Tactic. I am picking litmus test to win the Arkansas Derby. All right, let's get back. Speaking of Arkansas Derby, well, let's go to Florida Derby first. I'll put it up on the screen. That's what's coming up this weekend. We also have a race, the UAE Derby. I am just hoping everything's safe and they do, and that everything goes fine. It's a Dubai World Cup, such a great day of racing. It's going to happen. It's going to happen Saturday. Hopefully everything goes well there. UAE Derby coming up. Also a big race over in Japan as well. But the 2 American races, the Florida Derby here, field of 9, put it up on the screen for you. And like John said, Chief Wallaby in the 2 spot, Commandment number 4, Nearly number 6, the Puma number 8. Those are the headliners there. Albus, Wayne's Law, Redland, Rebels, Timeless Victory, and Gregarious, the other horses entered into this race. It would be a surprise if any of those horses made much of an impact other than that 2, 4, 6, 8 there, which Chief Wallaby, Commandment, Nearly, the Puma. So going to be very, very fascinating to see how it shakes out. I'm excited for this race. Full preview will be out on the website very soon, right after I do this video, going over to do that one. Boy, it's going to be really exciting. I cannot wait for this race. Based on how John and I both have our horses ranked, you think our picks are going to be Chief Wallaby. But you got to tune into the video to see there. John talking about his picks. He's going to go out on a limb and go with litmus test to win this year's version of the Arkansas Derby. I got it up on the screen for you now. Redland Rebel, he's going to try to run in both. Just kidding. He'll scratch out of one and run in the other, but he draws the rail. They'll Silent Tactic, number 2, number 3, Blackout Time, number 4, Brickland, number 5, Taptastic, number 6, Renegade, number 7, Napoleon Solo, number 8, Exosum, number 9, Litmus Test. I have to do a preview for this today. I got to get it out to you guys. I don't know what I want to do with this race just yet as I record this video. So basically what my morning will be, record this one, post it, record the Florida Derby, post it, try to figure this out. I think this is a mess. I think this is the hardest Kentucky Derby prep race yet. Here's why. Silent Tactic, you can go with him and say, man, he's just been a really, really consistent horse. He runs really well there. Sure. Blackout Time certainly could bounce back. Certainly could bounce back and run better here and progress second off the layoff. Brickland, I don't know. Redland Rebel and Brickland, I'm not sure of that. I'm halfway intrigued with Taptastic, the number 5 horse. I know he has just one race. It was a maiden special weight against older horses at Oaklawn Park, and I thought he looked really good. I think he'll like the stretch out. I like the aggressiveness. I don't know that I can pick him, but I think he is interesting. Number 6, Renegade, obviously extremely interesting. Getting IRAD to come with him, I think that's a great sign. Number 7, Napoleon Solo. I mean, can he bounce back and get into that absolute top form? Can he go a mile and an eighth and be effective? Like all the stuff. But, man, if he runs his biggest race, he's in there with a big shot. Exosum, recent winner, probably a throwout. I agree 100% with Litmus Test, what John said. I've been saying it ever since the race. Go watch the races when this horse is on the lead and go watch the races when he's not. Take him off the pace in this race. I'm telling you, when he's off the lead, he runs a hell of a lot better. Look, he was super. I'm not a fan of him overall. I'm not. I picked against him in the Rebel. I don't see a world where I'm picking him here. I'm telling you, the horse can run a lot better second off the layoff, second as a 3-year-old, and sitting just a little bit off the pace. I would not be shocked if he wins. So I think it's very fascinating. I think going into it, like Renegade was like, yeah, I'm just going to pick him. I like him and all this, but I'm a huge fan of Timeform. I think it's a great, shameless play. We have nothing to do with Timeform. That's just a free plug there, but I think it's a great product. It's never really done me wrong for about 15 years now of having this website, right? But I look at Timeform and I go, man, those numbers aren't great for Renegade. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to do a deep dive and really kind of, again, a number that I really believe in, Timeform numbers. It's like and it's not end all be all, right? And it's not like, oh, he's 2 or 3 points lower, and so that really is a worry. Like he's a decent amount lower, so I've got to make a decision on that. So anyway, that's enough. But I think the Arkansas Derby is freaking fascinating, and then I think the Florida Derby is even more fascinating. But I do think it is. Hey, one of these 4 horses are going to win. Let's just see who it is, type of thing. Where this could go a lot of different ways. So, all right, guys, that'll do it for the Kentucky Derby news this week. Like I said, full previews of the races coming out. I'm not stressed about one. I am stressed about the other. So we'll see what happens with both of those. All right, guys, thanks everybody for watching. Everybody hit that like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe. You really like it. Want to get alert time we do videos like this. And most importantly, come back next week for another Kentucky Derby update.